Hi everyone, and welcome back to AJ's Allotment. It's been a little while since I've done a video, so as promised I'm going to do a May tour. I think I might actually change my name to the Messy Gardener because I'm still a messy gardener. Nothing's changed. Right, so I only have plot 78A now, so this is it. This corner here is still breaking down underneath the sheeting. I just need to keep on top of the nettles that keep coming through. Eventually that's going to be my manure bin. When I get sorted out, I should be getting some cow manure, so that's what that will be, but it's not at the minute. I'm starting to build some Hugelkultur beds at the back, and this seems to be a drop-off point where I'm getting my bits of wood donated. Thank you very much, mystery donator. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Ken, to be honest. I've got my comfrey. We've been very dry, so it's looking a bit sorry for itself, but it comes back. I've managed to get it in various beds now, taking that permaculture approach to using it as chop and drop. It's been fantastic. So here it's just covered at the minute because this is where the squash are going to go and trail over. So it looks messy, but obviously cardboard breaks down. So I prefer to cover it with cardboard than weed membrane where possible. So that bed's just getting ready and prepared now for the squash to go in. I haven't sown them yet though. They're the blue banana ones again, so I need to sow those later at home. In here is some spring cabbages. Don't know if you can see through the netting. No, it's not going to show you. There we go, some spring cabbages, and I've got some more seedlings at home, so I'm going to have a continuous sowing of those. Again, there's some comfrey in there, but I think I need to chop that now because it's pulling on the netting. So just a bit of scaffold netting to cover those. As you can see, I've been using pallet collars for my beds. Again, in the middle pathways, I am going to be putting weed membrane down just to keep on top, but for now I've been using cardboard, which it looks a bit scraggy, but that's what's there. In here I have my lettuce, and this is Morton's Mix. So this was saved seed that I'd saved, I think, from last time, and it's lovely. So today I'm going to take my first pick in, and this one was just some I got actually from some plugs from the garden centre. I think it's just sour bowl. I think the calendula are absolutely phenomenal. For those of you that don't know, I use calendula to make I make calendula oil using almond oil, and then I use it for various different balms, so beard balms and facial balm for myself. I use it as a lip salve, so calendula is amazing for that, and also you can use it in salads and rice and things. So I'll be picking the heads to dry some more for my oils, and also it's brilliant for the bees. Very beneficial. If you're going to put one flower as a beneficial flower in, I would go with calendula. And once you've had it, you'll never need to buy seed again because it self-seeds. This is self-seeded from last year. Moving on to the next bed here, I've just put some Champion of England peas in. It's actually going to be my courgette bed, but I had nowhere to put the peas, so I thought I'm going to put them in there for now, and then I may put courgettes to spill over. I haven't decided yet. And there's a thin sowing of beetroot there as well. This bed here, I've got here a couple of days too late really for this. This was Japanese choice sum, I think it is. It's really nice, quick growing crop for an in-between, sort of like a bit like for a sprouting broccoli kale. It's a lot lighter. It's a lighter to eat. It doesn't take much to cook. So I'll be pulling those out. But yeah, I just let it go a bit too far. It's a bit hard now. Or I could just leave the flowers for the bees for another week. And then under here is some celery and a rogue potato, and then I've sown something here that I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was onions or carrots, and then I've got a couple of sowings of carrots here. The weed, they're just starting to come through, so all being well, they'll do well there. And then down here I did do a sowing of, what did I do a sowing of? Oh, Rab 60, but as you can see, something's been digging in here, so no idea what it is. But yeah, so these need to come out today. It's so warm today, it's ridiculous. This bed here is going to be my bean bed. Last year, terrible disaster. They all got eaten, they dried up, but I must admit the soil here is so dry, it's ridiculous. So I have put some rabbit bedding on, but I think I'm going to have to mulch it with something else before the beans even think about going in. It's just ridiculously dry, otherwise I'll be watering every day, which I can't always guarantee that. But yeah, I've got a structure ready. So I'm going to have climbing beans in the middle and then bush beans all around the outside edge, and that's going to go there. Again, I've got my chop and drop comfrey, which will be going in those places. So then onto this bed here, another pallet collar bed, and then in here I've got some sprouts and some kale and sprouting broccoli. They're doing quite well. I don't know if you can see through the netting. I don't really want to disturb it because I don't want those pesky butterflies in, but I never have any luck with brassicas, so I'm really pleased so far. They're looking dead healthy. Let me see if I can peek in from this way. Let's have a look, see. So they're looking really, really well at the moment, so I'm quite chuffed with that. But yeah, hopefully this year is going to be my brassica year. So warm. Moving on here, look, the kale's trying to flower because it's so warm, but I'm just going to pinch that out and it'll just keep going a bit longer. But yeah, I can take some of that today. Broad beans, I didn't do a massive bed of broad beans because we don't eat that many, but I do like to grow them because that first broad bean's amazing when you get it. And if I look in here, they are just starting to grow nicely, so won't be too long. And then there was a row here of daffodils. They were really pretty when they were up, when there was nothing else to look at. So that was my broad bean bed, and I think I will be following that with leeks and whatever over. I haven't really got a very good plan at the moment. This bed here is potatoes, so I've got first earlies, second earlies and some main crop. I've been mulching with chop and drop with comfrey and some rabbit bedding, and I did use some rhubarb leaves when it was we had a frost, just to protect them a little bit because I didn't have anything else. So I'd already, because I dug down quite deep and drew up, so I think I need to do my trenches bigger next time. I'm not very good, but all being well, we'll have some potatoes. This section here, I've got my table here, which needs a bit of a redo. I think Josh is going to do that for me. This is going to be my cut flower garden, this section here. So this bed is mulched. I've had my spring bulbs, so they need chopping down and taking out. And then I'm going to weed membrane, cut back to the ground. I think I'm going to condition and cardboard, then weed membrane in front of it there. And then I'm going to look to be putting things like some dahlias in. And I've done like some cosmos and some zinnias. Although I checked my zinnias this morning and the seedlings have started to come up, and the snails have had them at home yet again. So I'll have to re-sow. Again, more comfrey, compost bin. So these are my pear trees. Obviously they're a permanent fixture. They're always here for those of you that are used to it. But I've just come today and I've noticed a lot of them have blackened. I don't know if that's frost damage. I'm still learning. I'm not sure, but it's a bit of a shame, really. We will have some. There's a few that are fine. You have years that are good and you have years that are bad, but in all, the tree health itself is quite good. So there we go. We will have some pears. And then I've got some more pallet beds here. Again, I'm going to weed membrane all around them, just so I can keep on top, because it's couch grass I have. It feeds into the beds all the time. If I leave it too long, which it has been, it just tries to grow in. So I'm going to get it cut back down and weed membrane all around. Here Here's some second-early potatoes that were left over, so I just bunged them in there for now. Again, I'll probably use that as a green winter greens bed once they come out. So I want to do lots of winter greens, so things like your chards and whatnot, stuff like that. So they're all going to plan. This bed is underneath everything, has a few bits of logs and twigs. Again, a bit of a Hugelkultur bed, but not a massive one. Rabbit bedding, so they might not do so well. But I've just put garlic around the edge. I'm not overly fussed if it doesn't come to anything at the minute. And then the rest of the bed is going to be used, I think, for cabbages. I can't remember. I'll have to look at my little plan at home. This is a rough area which has some potatoes from last year. Obviously didn't clear it very well, so I've still got to clear this area and get back on top of it. Obviously the gooseberries are doing really well in the hedgerow. When they finish this year, I'm going to choose a couple of gooseberry plants to keep, and the rest of this hedgerow is pretty much going to go, and then keep the blackcurrant because the bramble keeps running through it. So I think I'm going to actually line it with comfrey, so I'm going to try and take a lot of root cuttings at the end of this year of comfrey and line the row with my chop and drop comfrey plants. I'm all about trying to implement that food forest permaculture sort of aspect. So again, under here, even though it's been covered, stuff's still come up, so a general tidy around under the apple tree, which just keeps coming back every time we cut it back. It's huge again. So always really nice apples. I don't know what the variety is, obviously, because it was already here, but they're like a red and green apple, and they hold firm, so they make a good crossover as an eating apple and also a dessert apple, so great for pies and crumbles. Really love it. Some of the best apples I've ever had, so I love this tree. You probably can't see because the dandelions keep getting the better of this bed, but again, I flung in a couple of over potatoes. I can't remember whether they were main crop or seconds. I'm doing a few. So main crop, I've got Valor, which are in that bed over there, and I've got a row of them over there. Then I've got some Marfona, I think, and I've got some at home as well, I'm not sure. Anyway, I've got a comfrey bed here. This bed, I'm doing what I did the other year. I tried to come to it after it had been trimmed down, and I tried to dig it. It was solid. It was like concrete. There's no way I was getting into it. It had some couch grass, so I've heavily cardboarded it, rabbit manured on top, and then I've just at the minute put 2 butternut squash in, and then I'm going to have more squash go in, possibly tomatoes as well. I'm not sure, but I'll keep building the soil again, and you know, just keep mulching over the top as I get it, as I get the medium for it. So I've still got some compost bins and things to empty, but for now I've put them in. They look a bit sad because it's so hot, but they'll be fine. I did water very well, so I dug through the cardboard, I filled it with water, put a handful of compost in, then I put the plants back in and moved the mulch around the sides of them. So they're Wortham butternut squash. Again, I've tried to choose varieties this year that I can save seed from, so I'm not spending so much. Here I had some leeks, but I've got a lot of weeds because, like I said, I'm a messy gardener. I get the soil is just it's so hard, it's so dry. They are starting to grow and go to seed, so I think I'm just going to let them do that rather than use them for cooking. I think I'm going to let these go to seed and keep the seeds, because they just didn't get going at all through winter. No idea why. Drew some artichokes at the back. Now, someone said once you've planted them once, you'll never get rid of them, and that's been true to the case. So after I harvest them this year, I'm going to try and get as many as possible out of the ground. But they are lovely, and they grow these really tall sunflower-like spikes, which I do like, and it gives a bit of shelter. So I'm not overly fussed that they're taking a little bit of space up, but I do maybe want some back, and like I say, I put my potatoes in there as well. Are you still with me? Oh, noisy bike. So I'm umming and ahhing about this plum tree. It's 2 different types of plum grafted onto one stalk, but as you can see, every year the lean gets a little bit bigger. the first set of plums which come first is on this root stem, and they're these small ones, and they're almost like a cherry. They're a cooking plum. They're hard and they're round. They don't get much bigger than this, so they'll be turning soon. And like I say, they're a cooking cherry. And then these ones on the other tree are Victoria plums, I think. But so far, every year they've been diseased or had brown rot, or the bugs have got in there first. So if I don't get anything for myself this year, it might be for the chop, which would free quite a big area up. That's a whole new bed, but I do like trees. So yeah, if I don't get anything from it that's purposeful, it might be for the chop, or at least a heavy prune. This area I've not dug over yet. Got a frog in my throat. I'm going to again be implementing more beds, hugel beds, which I'm about to talk to you about now. This has always been my area because it's wild. So this bed here is my Hugelkultur bed, and what I've done is, step back a bit so you can see it better, is I dug it all out. It's quite large, so I dug all the soil out, and then at the bottom I used some logs that people giving me, and I dug out of that area there where we'd used the cuttings from the plum trees and the shrubs and things over a couple of years ago, so they'd already started to rot down. So I layered it with those, which I think I put the pictures on the slideshow on the last little clip I put on. And then the next layer I used some of the rabbit manure bedding, and I put some chop and drop in, so some nettles that didn't have the seeds on them, and some comfrey. So it's got all good stuff in there. It's all going to rot down. In theory, it should retain moisture underneath, so when the roots of the plants go in, they've got access to that nice humus rich moisture as it all breaks down. I am intending on mulching over the top. I'm supposed to be getting hold of some hay from the farmyard that my daughter works at, but I haven't got it yet. So until that happens, where I've put the pumpkins in, so these are the Big Macs, so these are for like Halloween, the big giant ones. I've put some wood chip over, and then if the bed's successful, I'm hoping then I won't have to water as much as once they get going and the roots get established. I'm hoping it's going to retain a lot of that moisture, because lugging water, because this is the far end and my water butts are down all the way down there behind the shed, I won't have to lug water as far, and in theory that's how it's going to work. So I intend to put another 2 or 3 of these style beds in. At the minute I haven't got them done, but I'm trying to work my way through slowly but surely. So I'm hoping that's going to work. It might be a complete fail, it might be a waste of time, there might not be any benefit whatsoever. And then again, to secure growth of weeds, I'm going to membrane all around it. I'll use this plastic covering all around it for the path, because this is my biggest issue, is not being able to get up here all the time to strim, because I'm not going to moan on about my health issues. I do have problems. I'm waiting for a referral for surgery for my knee, blah blah blah. It's never ending. So time is, when I get up here, I want it to be for things that I need to be doing, not things that I don't want to be having to deal with all the time, which is the weeds. I've digressed. Yes, so basically, really, I want to get a couple more beds like this in here. I want a permanent bed in there, which is going to be for soft fruits. So I want to do a bit of a hugel bed for the raspberries and the currants and strawberries. So it would work. After the pumpkins come out, again, I want to have lots of nice greens in and things that I can use for through the winter and through spring. So I'm going to make sure I've got plenty of sowings of kales and spinaches and stuff like that. So that's what will go in later on in the year after we've harvested the pumpkins. Because the one thing I've not been doing every year is I've not been making sure that I've got those spring crops ready that go in the autumn. So I've got another bed there. That's not been done as a hugel bed so far. It's just literally been dug over. So I need to pull the soil apart and then do the layering process there with that one. Again, I can't remember what's going to go with it. I think I'm going to put greens in there, possibly cauliflowers and chard and stuff. I haven't decided. But yeah, so hopefully that's going to be something that works. And it also gives you that, I probably can't see from here very well, but what it gives you is it gives you a wider space to work with. So you've got the mounds. So for pumpkins, okay, it's going to, because they normally trail this way, it's going to give them a bit more room to come down. And then with other things, so like when we have the soft fruit bed, I'll put strawberries on the sides and things like that, and which will also catch water and retain that. So that's what's happening. I think this frame's going. I've said someone can have that if they want it. I want to move my bays. I've not looked after them properly. It's derelict. It's like coming to a new allotment again. But like I say, I've been getting all this matter out, which is all good for going in the bottom of the beds. So any old wood like this that's already started breaking down, so it's already got, that process has already started, all that carbon rich products there. So I want to move these bays to the back over there. The nettles all need strimming down again. They just keep coming. So this area is my wild area, but it's really good for the butterflies and things like, you know, that during winter time, so I don't want to take too much of it. So I've got some more logs ready. There's more at the front. Rhubarb was shocking up here this year. It all went to flower. The brambles have ran through it. I'm going to move all this. This is all coming out and getting cleared, this area here. So there'll be a nice space for another bed, but this won't happen this season, I don't think. Yeah, I really don't think that's going to happen this year. But like I see, it's got brambles, so I need to get a mattock and get that sorted. So anyone who, when people say, oh, is my rhubarb going to flower, if it's your first time growing this year and you don't know what that means, what happens is when it gets too warm, the centre of your rhubarb, if it's not kept to check on, will send up this huge, massive spike. So this has happened over the last week because it wasn't here when I was up here last. So it's the first time I've known this one go to flower, but there we go. So it's gone to flower and then it will produce seeds. So I've never really kept any seeds or grown rhubarb from seeds, so maybe that's something I'll do, or maybe harvest some seed. But yeah, my rhubarb here has been shocking. At home, it's been lovely. It's been really good, but it is starting to finish now. But again, it's been ran through with the brambles. Obviously they're going to fruit, so we'll just enjoy the fruit. I can't really show you under here because I've not got my gloves on. I don't want to hurt myself, but there's a lot of clippings and old wood that's started to rot down. So that again, I'll be able to use when I build the next bed here. So it'll just move over. So it's all about trying to use what we've already got and helping bring the full circle of what's going on. So my biggest problems is nettles over here. So yeah, so I want to get the beds moved up there, which is going to free. That's going to give me another full bed if I get the bays, the compost bays moved up. So I've got a bit more of a plan. I do most of the work on my own. My husband's not a gardener. He'll help with some lifting and bits like that. But he's not a gardener. If I leave him up here on his own, he'll just cut everything back and that's it. Because he doesn't know what to touch and what not to touch. So most of it's done on my own, and it can be really daunting, which is why I have fits and starts with it. It's why I sometimes don't come back for a few weeks and I think that's it, I'm going to quit, it's not worth it. And then when I get up here, I change my mind again. So this is a work in progress. I'm not going to deter myself. I did think the other week, I was like, oh, it's too much, it's too big, I can't do it. But then I thought, no, get on and do it, and I did. But because I've got this problem with my knee, I did too much, and then I was out of action for 4 days. So then I had to go steady. So I need to be mindful of not to do too much. But you can see now that's how high that bed is. So fingers crossed, this is going to be quite good and work. But yeah, so I've been making plans. I've been away for a bit, and to be honest, it's just because I'm doing university, so I've been really busy with uni, so I've not had really much time for making videos, but I've got a bit of a break now with what's going on and everything, so I've got more time to spend planning and sowing seeds and everything else. So let's just enjoy this magnificent apple tree. Eventually I'd like it so it is nice and neat and tidy into there, and maybe a little bench to sit on, so it makes a nice little shady spot, but that'll all come. This area, I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I might, like I say, use it as a bit of a seating area under the trees in the shade, or perhaps, again, going back to permaculture, I could look for a dwarf variety tree to go in just underneath, but I haven't got that far. So it's again just tidying up, sorting my paths out. Obviously I have this giant hedgerow. Those of you that already follow know that. So we've got, in this big tree here, there are pigeons, there's magpies, there's robins, there's blackbirds. It's a fantastic place for bird watching, but consequently they see me. As soon as something goes in, they know it's there. So there's a bit for me and a bit for the birds. So fingers crossed it's going to be a good growing season. I didn't tell you what was in that bed there, did I? And it's probably because I probably can't remember. So these are red and I think it's red, like a red and a burgundy radish. So they're a little bit different and they're quite globe shaped. That's what I've got sown down there. I think there's another variety of carrots sown in here. I think I sowed some swede and possibly something green, but I didn't label them. And there's something coming up just there, and I think they look like swedes. I'm not sure, but I know for a fact this row is definitely the radishes. They're like a globe radish, and they're like a red and a pink, just something a little bit different. But I sowed a row with those there. They're coming up nicely. So that's what this bed is. It's a bit of a mismatch overflow bed. And then when the radishes are finished, I'll just throw whatever I've got available in. It's going to be about plugging spaces. As soon as a space comes up, I'll plug it with something else. So I do have a spare pallet collar there, which when I've cleared this area here, I will probably put down. So there's potatoes there, the volunteers from last year. I think I'm just going to leave them and strum around them or whatever, and dig them up as they come. So again, it's just working with what nature's given me, which is a lot of dandelions and dock leaves. Don't know why it's giving me those. So not to dribble on for much longer, that is my May 2020 tour. And I think I've outlined a bit of what my plans are. Excuse the traffic noise, it's typical. And I'm just mulling along, enjoying some sunshine after all that wind. We've had a lot of wind the last few days, and just looking at what could be a good year. I mean, I'm just looking at this pear tree now, and I remember when I cut it, it was, well, you can see where the wood changed. So it's gone from here, and it's grown so much. I just didn't realise how high it got. But yeah, it's all that new wood look. Sorry, I digressed again, but that's really put some growth on. And we will get some pears. Again, with the, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent again. With this tree here, this is a yellow plum. We really hacked it back, and everyone on site was like, "What have you done? How come you've hacked that tree back?" But actually, it's come back really well, and it was because it was getting so, it was hard to manage, and the branches were breaking in the wind. So now it's had that chance to throw really nice new shoots up, and it has got fruit on it. So I'm just hoping we don't get too many pests and bugs on it. Let's have a look at this. Look. All those plums, so they're yellow plums. It's absolutely laden this year. There was not really much last year after the big cutback the year before. So what's this, 2 years after cutting it, and now it's really heavy with fruit. The comfrey is not only really good as a chop and drop, it's a fantastic for the bees as well when it's in flower. And then I'll leave some flower in and cut the rest back. So because that one over there is looking a bit sad, I'll chop that and let it refresh itself, and the bees can enjoy this one. It's a good plant because it's an accumulator. So what it does is it taps down quite far down with the taproot, and then it brings all good vitamins and minerals up to the subsoil. So wherever it is, it nourishes the soil close to it, as well as it breaks down. As it breaks down, it then also releases those minerals, because obviously soil's depleting, we're constantly using it. If we're not building it back, the minerals are hard to get to. So plants like comfrey, they bring those minerals to the subsoil. So like I say, my theory is if I can get these across most of the beds, I can keep using them as chop and drop, and it'll also be good for the soil around it. So yeah, not much else to show you. I've just got the gooseberries, and obviously my pesty blackberry, which has ran through the bramble, all through the currant bush, which is going to make it really difficult for harvesting the red currants. So I need to try and get the black currant out, get the black bramble out, ready for harvesting the black currants. I don't like it though, because it's very prickly, as are gooseberries are very prickly indeed. I thought they might be ready today, but not quite. And how do you know if a gooseberry's ready? It'll come off when you tug on it. It'll pop off if a gooseberry's ready, and these are really hard still, so they're not quite there yet, but they will be. So thank you guys for watching, and from AJ's allotment on this glorious day, it's goodbye, and I will catch you all again hopefully really soon, and you can see how I've progressed. And for those of you that are new to my channel, thank you very much for subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me. It's given me that extra encouragement to carry on. And for those of you that are old friends, it really warms my heart when I see your messages. So thank you very much, and enjoy what's left of the May Bank holiday if you can. I know we're all in a bit of an odd situation, but please just try and embrace those good moments. And I'll see you all again really, really soon. Thank you.